presentation. Thank you everybody for being part of today's presentation. Today we'll be having our presentation on the Shia, which is the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, and security forces and investigation. I'm Ayodokun. I'm Abio Ayodokun. Without wasting any time, we'll quickly go into the topic for today. Thank you. Shia is a religious aspect of Islamic movement. According to Victoria 2005, 10 to 15% of Muslims follows the Shia. That's, you know, there are ways they are called. With the majority in Iran, Iraq, Bahrain, and Azerbaijan, with also significant Shia population in Afghanistan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Pakistan, Syria, and Yemen, and also in Saudi Arabia too, we can find some significant members of this group. The name Shia is believed to mean, among other things, partisan or a party. The word is shortened from the Arabic Shia Ali, is a part of Ali, which initially comprised of a few components of Prophet Muhammad that were held together by the common goal of supporting Ali to claim of succession to the prophets after the latter departure in 632. That's what Kabiru and then Sonny in 2007 postulated. Islamic religious group Shia grows in the northern part of Nigeria and is linked to political engagement of El-Zazak and his religious movement, which is addressed as the Muslim Brothers. There are complexity of social and religious base of Shia members in some parts of the country. El-Zazak has been known in his religious fight for Islam in his undergraduate days, according to Kabiru and Sam in 2007. Ibrahim El-Zazak, a student in the Faculty of Art and Social Science at Ahmadu Bello University, was a charismatic leader of the MSSN who tried to wake the Muslim students up from what he believed was an excessive whiteism and to develop a more political active wings of the organization. This made him vocal and strong in Islamic religion in the northern part of Nigeria, and in his 1979 speech known as Funtua Declaration, exposing more. There has been constant clashes between either El-Zazak or his group and security operatives. One of the major celebrations of this group, called Ashura, is the primary rituals and observance of Ashura consist of public expression of mourning. Some in the Shia community mark the day by flagellate themselves with chain and blunt ends of sword. This ritual many times lead to clashes between the group and security forces. We want to look at the objective of this study. Research objective 1, to identify the areas of clashes between Shia and security forces in Nigeria, to investigate the total number of deaths from Shia and security forces between August 2006 to August 2022. To investigate the total number of deaths from Shia and security per state. We want to look at the states that are involved in this Shia movement. And in doing this, we need to look at the methodology of Nigerian Watch. Methodology of Nigerian Watch defines so many things and will give us understanding of some perspective in this research and how this research is carried out. With this, the methodology, the data for the presentation was extracted from Nigerian Watch. Nigerian Watch is an online database that compiles and monitors data of violence, deaths, in order to provide statistics and analyze trend of fatality in Nigeria. It is a database of fatal incidents extracted from 10 national dailies: The Sun, Guardian, New Telegraph, Punch, This Day, Vanguard, Independent, Nigerian Tribune, Daily Trust, The Nation, and all these, they are based on their regional strength. Aside the national dailies, data are collected from police reports, judicial precedents, hospital reports, and reports from human rights organizations. The period covered by this study ranges from June 2006, when Nigeria Watch commenced, to August 2022. Nigeria Watch captured data on Shia, Islamic Movement, and security forces in Nigeria, among other incidents of violence in Nigeria. It is worthy to note that some instances of Shia movement and security forces do not result in deaths. However, many cases had led to fatality. Nigeria Watch data focuses on incidents with at least a death. Though in all of these, there are some methodological issues that we encounter in the course of our research. The quantification of violence has not occupied the front burners of research in Nigeria. One of the reasons for such is that crime statistics by police and other government agencies are either unavailable, too restrictive, or not reliable. Hence, the Nigerian Watch data systematically tracks various data violence across Nigeria to address the criticality of data on violence and its victims in Nigeria. In a bid to explore cases of Shia and security forces in Nigeria, Nigerian Watch data capture the data, though without limitation like other research engagements. It is far from exhaustive, as some fatality may go unreported by some national dailies. Accurate figures reported also pose a challenge to the newspaper, as some of them over-report or under-report fatalities for same incidents. Regardless of these limitations, the database aids a better understanding of Shia and security force and security force clashes in Nigeria. We want to look at the results and discussion of findings from the Nigerian Watch data. It may interest you to know some of the findings from this data about Shiites, the leader, and police clashes in Nigeria. We'll start by looking at eras of clashes between Shia and security forces in Nigeria. Like we said, we want to look at the Islamic Movement of Nigeria and some Nigerian leaders. You know, the Shia of Nigeria, a religious group, has been in constant clashes, most times with police and most times with some head of state of Nigeria, and leading to detention of Sheikh Ibrahim el-Zakzaky. Sheikh Ibrahim Zakzaky is the leader of this movement. Interestingly, the era of most military head of state, which are mostly Muslim, have not been interesting to this religious group. Finding shows that there were clashes during regime of most of the head of states of Nigeria. And let's look at, we'll pick some of these head of states and look at some clashes they had with this group and their leader. And we also at a glance look at some of these leaders and the clashes they have, and also the detention of this group leader. In 1996, General Sani Abacha ordered the arrest of Sheikh Ibrahim Zaki, dead or alive. No? When the members of this Islamic group assembled for early morning prayers, they found out that they were surrounded by heavy armed military during their morning prayers. And this instruction was from Aso Rock to pick this man dead or alive. What he actually did that morning was to address his supporters, and he chose Sheikh Mahmoud Turi and his blood brother, Malam Badamasi Yakub, to go with him, and was in detention for 7 months. And this does not go well with the members. And there was spontaneous protests, especially in the northern part of the country and some parts of the south, like the Lagos and Enugu inclusive. When the members and some Nigerians were not pleased at they call it unlawful detention of the leader of this movement. And this led to protests, and also outside the country. There was a protest was held in London condemning the arrest of this clergy, and they were asking for the immediate release of the clergy. In Zaria, the protest led to the death of 11 members of the movement, while some were wounded. There were a series of protests leading to death of people in this. El-Zazak lost 6 of his sons in this Shiite movement. They were killed in different military attacks on Islamic on IMS. The first being the Zaria Quits Day massacre. That was in 2014. It happened under President Goodluck Jonathan. And the other one happened in the year 2015 under President Muhammadu Buhari. Massacre which eventually led to the arrest of El-Zazak, his wife, and several other members of the Shiite group. We want to have a glance of this El-Zazak detention and some of the head of states, Nigeria head of state and Shiite leader in detention. Shehu Usman Ali Yaradua, Shehu Usman Ali Shagari, who ruled the country between October 1, 1979 to December 31st, 1983, held El-Zazak in detention in Enugu prison between the year 1981 to 1985. Sorry about this. Sorry. Sorry about this. So we're talking about Major General Muhammadu Buhari, who ruled the country between December 31st, 1983 to August 27, 1985. Zaki held him in prison in Enugu prison in 1983 to 1984. an interrogation center for the National Security Organization in Lagos between 1984 to 1985. Then comes General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, who ruled Nigeria between August 27 to August 27, 1985 to August 27, 1993. He held El Zazak in Kirikiri maximum security in 1985 and in Port Harcourt between 1987 to 1989, also in Kaduna in 1987. When General Sani Abacha came in November 17, 1993, who stayed till June 8, 1998, held El Zazak in Port Harcourt detention from 1996 to 1997, and also in Kaduna in 1997 to 1998. When Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan came in May 2010, he stayed till, what actually happened was that El Zazak was not in detention, but he stayed till May 2015, but 3 of El Zazak's sons and some members of his group were killed. In this, he sent condolence message to the president, then sent condolence message to El Zazak, but he was trying to make him to understand that the condolence cannot pay the price of the dead children and his member. And next was when General Muhammadu Buhari became the president of Nigeria in May 29, 2015, and which is still there till date. El Zazak was held in an undisclosed, was in detention in an undisclosed location. But probably many times, the members from 2015 to 2021, many times the members of this group go to the House of Assembly, go to the Federal Capital Territory to show their grievance. They go in masses to demonstrate, and at times they block the road in the course of their procession to show their grievance to the unlawful detention of their leader. And this also will help us to see some of the reasons why he was held in detention. Now we want to look at, we want to see the total number of deaths from Shia and security forces between August 2006 to August 2022. The total number of deaths from Shia and security forces clash in Nigeria between August 2006 to August 2022 is 421 deaths. There's going to be a table that will come after this. The table shows the total number of deaths by year. It shows that in 2015, which was the era of President Muhammadu Buhari, that we have the highest number of deaths. And also in 2014, the era of our President Goodluck Jonathan also recorded another higher number of deaths. This is a table at a glance, total number of deaths per year. We could see that they were killing, like I told you, Nigerian Watch will record at least a death, at least a fatality. We deal with fatality, and there has been so many protests and there has been so many detentions, but we are interested in the number of deaths in the course of these clashes. So that is why we have a breakdown of the deaths from 2007 to 2022. In 2007, we have 3 number of deaths. Looking at it at a glance, we have the highest in 2015, which is 306 deaths. In 2014, we have 36 deaths. And in 2019, we also have 17 deaths and so forth. So looking at it from the table, from this graph, we could see that the peak, which was the highest, was in 2015, followed by the peak was 2016, followed by, which is the highest, 2015, followed by 2014, which has 36 deaths. And this goes by saying the total number of deaths from Shia, like I said, is 421. This killing includes protests by Shia for the detention of their leaders, and during Ashura, which is primarily the ritual and observance of public expression of mourning. And like I said in the introduction, it is marked by flagellating themselves with shame and blunt edges of swords. A major clash between Shia and the Nigerian army occurred on December 12, 2015. It spans for like 2 days. Many people were reportedly killed during this heavy fighting between men of the Nigerian army and members of the Islamic movement. The killing happens when the group attempted to block the convoy of the chief of army staff, Lieutenant Colonel Yusuf Butai. Others died when the troops surrounded the house of the leaders of the movement. A wife of the son of the leader, some of the son, some of the sons and a colonel were among those people killed during the crisis. Looking at the total number of deaths from Shia and security forces by state, still the 421 deaths of as a result of the Shia and security force, which occurs in different parts of the country. Most of the protests and deaths occur in the northern part of the country. From a table that will be shown soon, it shows that a state with at least a death occurred during the clash, which either occurred during the protest when their leader was in detention, or during the arrest of their leader, or during the Ashura procession. And this table will show us a glance by states of the number of deaths by Shiites and the security forces. Looking at the table we have here, we can see that Kaduna State has the highest number of deaths, followed by Kano State and FCT. Kaduna State recorded the highest number of deaths because the Shia leader is majorly based in Zaria, and the group carry out most of the activities there. We also acclaimed for that of FCT. This could be attributed to when he was detained, and the member protested in FCT for his release. And the table we have here shows the figures and the deaths, showing us that Kaduna State has the highest, followed by Kano, and followed by FCT. Which other states too, probably because of the protests and the Ashura procession too, have some pockets of deaths. Niger State happens to have the least, which is 1. Based on this, we want to look at the geographical zoning of this death. We want to look at the zone that has the geopolitical zone that has the highest number of deaths, because it's been claimed that most of these deaths occur in the northern part of Nigeria. Death by geopolitical zone. Northwest and North Central record deaths from Shiite clash with security operative. In North Central, we have FCT and Niger. FCT, which is Abuja, has the highest number of deaths with 22 people killed, and Niger State has 1 person killed. And based on this, from the North Central, we have a total number of 23 deaths. Now we'll go to Northwest. In the Northwest, we have the Kaduna State, which has the highest number of deaths, 361 deaths. Kano State has 223 deaths. Katsina State has 7 deaths, and Sokoto State has 7 deaths. You can see that in the North Central recorded the highest number of deaths, which is 398 deaths. This is shown at a glance, showing that Northwest has the highest number of deaths in between the Shiite group and the security forces. This brings us to the conclusion of this research. The Shiite movement and security forces of Nigeria have been clashing even before the current democratic dispensation, and the clash still continue in the democratic era. The clashes between the security forces and Shia usually end up with death of either a Shiite member, a security force, a Shiite member, a civilian, or a security force. And that Shia clash happens majorly in the northern part of Nigeria. The highest number of deaths was recorded in Kaduna State. Northeast, which did not record any Shia killing, but Northwest and North Central recorded deaths. This research advocates for practice of religious freedom, where Shia should be allowed to practice their faith freely. The security operatives stopped being suspicious of the group, but could not hesitate to monitor and legally prosecute any actors that intend to terrorize innocent citizens. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you. Thank you so much. Time for question, contribution, and reaction to this presentation.
Okay, I want to take it over from here. In the first place, I want to thank the presenter for doing a very good job. And if you look at it, she has been able to lay the background for Shiite movement and their numerous clashes with security operatives in the country. And not just that, she has been able to give us the figures of the resultant effect of the clashes between security operatives and Shiites, the Shiite group. She has given us the figures per state, the number of fatalities registered. She has also given us the figures per year and also figures per geopolitical zone. And if we look at it, we'll see that majorly the clashes between security operatives and the Shiite group, Islamic Movement of Nigeria, the clashes are usually recorded in the northern part of the country. And that brings me to making some kind of a ratiocination. When you look at it, you see that majorly we have 2 groups in the Islamic world. We have the Sunnis and we have the Shiites. So to me, it appears somewhat that there is this underground kind of battle. Should I call it battle, or should I call it a kind of effort to assert supremacy between Sunnis and Shiites? That is what we are seeing in Nigeria between these 2 groups in a way. And from what she presented, I could also decipher the fact that before I go into asking, opening the floor for people to ask questions and also to make contributions, I have been able also to pick out the fact that part of the reasons for some of the detentions and clashes between the Nigerian forces or security operatives and the Shiite group is hinged on one, illegal procession. That is, sometimes their processions, even the Ashura ones and all that, are deemed illegal by security operatives. And then these people that are on procession are also seen as blocking travelers, legal travelers who are supposed to use who have the right of way or right of passage of the various roads in Nigeria. And then we also see members of this group picketing government and public spaces, like going to the National Assembly, going to even key places. If they are allowed, somewhat, they could also march to Aso Rock to go and picket the government and to show their grievances. And then we've seen instances where members of this group attack security operatives with dangerous weapons. And we've also had instances where these attacks led to the death of security operatives, and in what we call a kind of a surprising attack, because I remember one of the attacks, a security operative was killed, and the question was, do these guys now bear arms? So these are some clarifications I want to make from this presentation. And with that, I will open up the floor for those who want to ask questions and make clarifications or even make contributions. So we can see some hands up. Okay, I'm trying to look at, someone said, that's Dr. Abdullahi Muhammad Maigari, said, I observed that the person making remarks now does not understand the difference between Shia and Sunni. It's not about the issue of supremacy, but how the Shia are attacking the basic tenets of Sunni and Islam generally. Okay, I understand your point. But I made this assertion from what we understand about these two groups. This fight is not just in Nigeria. We know that we also witness it in other places, like even in Saudi Arabia and other countries. So your clarification is not bad, but it still boils down to what an outsider can picture about what is happening in Nigeria, because I can't see why in a situation where we have religious freedom, people are not allowed to have some part of a kind of a procession that is a religious procession. And when they engage in that, the strong arm of the security forces is brought in to quell their procession or to limit what they want to engage in. So I'm not trying to blank out the fact that you may have a deeper understanding of what this movement is all about. I'm also not trying to blank out the fact that members of this group tend to show some kind of a misunderstanding of what they should be doing. But all I'm saying is that there should be some form of understanding between the group and the government or the security operatives. Okay, so I don't know whether there are people that want to ask questions or who want to make further clarifications. I don't know whether my colleagues want to make any clarification. Okay, so back to Kaduna. What happened in Kaduna?
We have Dr. Abdullahi.
Okay, so can Dr. Abdullahi...
Please, can you please...
Yeah, Dr. Abdullahi wants to say something. Can you unmute yourself and make your contribution?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. Abdullahi. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Abdullahi, we can hear you.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, doctor.
I want to add the issue, the last person that made a comment. Why is it there have been series of clashes between the Shia and the security personnel? One of the fundamental things that only an insider, that is what I say, an insider, someone that is a Muslim and understand the intricacies of how the Shia operate. Right from the beginning, they are teaching their members this ideology about the Nigerian state, and open confrontation with any authority. And those people don't understand Hausa. During that procession, what the Shias are usually saying in their procession is what will lead to an open fight with the other Muslims who are not Shias, because they are insulting the companions, that is the people that live together with Prophet Muhammad. That is what the Shias usually say during the procession. And this is exactly what
Dr. Brunei?
Hello, doctor, we can't hear you again.
Hello, doctor?
Okay, until we get a further signal from doctor. I understand what he's trying to say. He's saying that the Shiite, in a way, are trying to are always, even during their processions, the words or the comments they make are somewhat anti other Islamic groups and even anti the state. So we wait further for him to come and make further clarifications on that, because he, being an insider and also being a Muslim, would tell us, give us a better perspective or a better idea on what the group actually, members of the group, what they actually say or what they do that usually results to these constant clashes between them and the security operatives. But just like I said, it's still not far from what I said, my submission that the constant clashes we see between the Sunnis and the Shiites in not just Nigeria, but in other parts of the world, it's something that could be hinged on ideological differences. It's something that could be hinged on ideological differences, because if that is an ideological difference, it means that it still boils down to what I said ab initio, that there is something about the ideology that is creating some kind of clashes between these two groups. And when you note that the northern part of Nigeria is mainly populated by the Sunni Muslims, you now understand the background upon which these constant clashes happen. So it's hinged on ideological difference, and this ideological difference, we further await Dr. to come and Abdullahi to come and make clarifications on that, because I think he has something to say to that. Okay, he's saying that network is about, but you can type your comment and we will read it. Okay, saying security operatives are going beyond their mandate and kill Shia during their procession. Well, I have a question for Dr. Abdullahi. I wish he could come on and we interact on this. My question is, doesn't he think that the security operatives are going after this Shia based on their understanding, that's especially those who are Muslims, their understanding of some of the bitter or the achebic words these members of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria spit out, according to what he said, what they say during the processions. Is he saying that some of these things, can we further say that some of these things ignite or necessitate or form the background upon which these clashes happen? Dr. Abdullah, you can answer us by typing as a test, or you can also come back if your network gets better to give us your reason on this perspective. I don't know whether anybody still has more contributions. I yield the floor to my colleague, Victoria.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Victor Ezek, for this. Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Abdullahi. We actually look forward to hearing more from your perspective. It's a research, and contributions are welcome to make the research robust. Like I said earlier, that there has been research has shown that this group, Shia, they have been in constant clash with security forces, and it can be trailed from the time of the leader, when he was in Ahmadu Bello, the Funtua declaration, I think, agitated so many things, and also agitated a wake in the members, right? Like I told you, it started this during his undergraduate days. But the Funtua declaration, if you have to go through it, please take time to go through the Funtua declaration. You will see the wake and what led to this awake of this leader and his members to go for this fight. They believe it's a holy fight. They believe, actually, I don't want to go to the religious and the political aspect of this. As a researcher, I want to set my scope, my limit to some things, mostly because one, I'm on air, and I want to believe that this clashes has been on for a whole numbers of years. Every of the head of states and the president in Nigeria have their share with shites. At times, some of them, the clashes may not lead to death. At times, there will be a clash during, there's ever been a clash during their era. But the worst of it all, during these clashes, it's been the one of President Muhammadu Buhari, when he's the president currently, and even before he became the president, when he was still the head of state of Nigeria, there were this clash, and even the time of Abacha, he ordered his immediate arrest. Even in time of Babangida too, he ordered his immediate arrest. And the question, I wish I could have a shy member online that could help to understand why this constant detention has been ongoing between the Shia leader and the authorities in Nigeria. And he was just currently released from detention. I think it was released last year after the court declared that he should be released and he should go. In fact, this last detention, he was in detention with his wife, Zainab. He was in detention with the wife, and for you to see how it's been. And the question is, how long do we continue to have clashes with the security operative? I want to, when will this end? And when will they have their freedom to have their religious activity unhurt and unharmed, and not hurting the community, and they not being hurt by security operative? I could see some questions here. I don't know if it is question or contribution from, I think from Abdullah also, yes. Dr. Eze, are you there to help with this, or should I go?
Okay,
Doctor,
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. Dr. Abdullah is saying that the security operatives in Nigeria are intervening during the procession in an attempt to avert clashes with other Muslims because they are aware of what their utterances during their procession, that their utterances during the procession may ignite some, clashes or cause some troubles. And then he's also saying that the fundamental ideology that Zakizaki is building his member or imbuing into his member is that they have the fundamental rights to worship and associate with any religious belief, but they tend to forget to understand that there is a limit to freedom of expression and religion. Well, I get your point. I get your point, Dr. Abdullahi, but basically from our presentation, this presentation that Madam Victoria just made, we are kind of advocating for a situation whereby the government can robustly engage Zakizaki and even his groups. One is that despite their comments, or they have the freedom to say whatever they want to say. I'm talking about the freedom of speech and all that and all that. But now the security operatives or the country, the government should have a way of gauging the action of members of this group. Members of this group, to gauge their action, to see whether some of these things they are saying, whether they are translating them into action, whereby they tend to go out to want to harm other members, other citizens, like illegal blocking of travelers, picketing of government places, government public places and all that, and then attacking security operatives. Well, most times when you look back, you see that some of these actions by members of these groups are hinged on certain things that have been done to them, and they are more or less trying to retaliate. But what I'm trying to say in essence is that there should be, whether by a civil society organization or by other forms of NGOs and all that, and even government agencies, to engage members of this group, because there is need for them even to carry out their religious activities in an atmosphere of some freedom. Because constantly what we hear is that every time they are engaged in their procession sometimes we hear a procession from one state to another state, there are clashes. So is there a way of, because I know that in Nigeria, entrenched in the constitution of the country, every human being, or even our fundamental rights, we have the right of association, the right of religious association, political associations, and all that. So is it possible to call these guys and educate their freedom of association, religious movement, and all that? And then it is when this is done beyond every reasonable doubt that then some members or key members, like even the leaders of this group, can be picked out. But what we constantly see is that for every little opportunity, or for every time members of this group want to do some movement or do some, I'm not advocating, I'm not a member of the Shia group, but I'm just talking from the ambience of the universality of the freedom that every human being enjoys and the right to associate with others, religious-wise and political-wise and all that. So is it possible to engage members of this group? Because sometimes it tends to appear as if, based on the true understanding of the groups we know of in the Muslim world, that these clashes are initiated by some kind of ideological differences, strong ideological differences, and then
go ahead, please. Please go ahead, doctor. Hello, doctor. I think the network, doctor.
The clashes are a hint of. Yeah, is he aware of? Can you hear me? Is he aware of? Is he aware of reaching some kind of ideological balance and bridging the gap between, kind of, because when the two groups, I think it boils down to highlighting the key differences between the Sunnis and the Shia. So is there a way of educating the Shia so that they can come to a common ground and understand the fact that even though they have some kind of religious freedom, they shouldn't misuse it. But engaging in a constant battle wherein people are maimed, killed, and structures are destroyed, like we witnessed in 2015, which was extremely barbaric, where hundreds of people were killed and, several children of the so-called leader were decimated and all that. Such situation doesn't paint the country in a very good light. So that's my submission. I know someone is trying to make a point. Okay, Dr. Abdullah is also saying that the Shiites were operating a parallel state-like. The activities were like Boko Haram at the early stage of Muhammad Yusuf in Borno State. Okay, fine, operating state-like, but we've not seen them, have their own police. We've not seen them come out to call for a kind of secession from the normal Nigerian state. We've not seen them engage in several other kinds of activities that, tend to make a group cut out from, from a rump state and call themselves a nation. So we've not seen all that. So unless there is an understanding amidst other Islamic groups that this is what the Shiites are doing, but the generality of the rest of us in Nigerians, we've not seen that. We've not seen that, where these guys are calling for their own country or their own nation, in a sense that they want to stay on their own and practice their religion. We've not seen that, unless the understanding that Dr. Abdullah is giving us about this is based on his understanding from the Islamic perspective of what these people are doing. But we've not seen that. We've not seen anywhere where Zakzaki is saying that he wants to have his own country, or he wants to. We've not seen that. So every other form of kind of intransigency, every other form of picketing the state or picketing government structures and public offices, there must be a way of creating some kind of settlement or an agreement or having some kind of peace between the government, the state, and members of this group. So it boils down to setting out the appropriate CSO, the civil society organizations or other NGOs who can engage in some kind of negotiation between the government and the group, and things will be sorted out in a way, because it's all about dialogue. But the constant clash between this group, members of this group, and the security operatives, the constant clash doesn't paint very good image about Nigeria. So that's my submission. I yield the floor to Victoria Ayodokun.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Victor Eze. Thank you all for your contribution. Thank you for the questions, the contribution, and everything. I want to appreciate everyone. And at this point, I think we have to call it a day. And I just want to quickly say, okay, Dr. Victor Eze.
Okay, I want to say that this is the last part of the series for the year, online seminar series. We'll start another one next year, and we'll give you information to that effect. I want to thank all of you for your participation in this, our online seminar series, and we look forward to engaging you further from next year. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, everybody. Like Doctor said, you could go to the YouTube to get all of this presentation from the first presentation, the 1 year after NSAS, interrogating the Nigerian Watch database of fact and figure, separatist movement in Southeast, cause and trends, debunking the myths of road accidents during Ember month with facts and figures from Nigerian Watch data, mapping the trends and trajectories of ritual killing in Nigeria, investigating gender-based violence in Nigeria, is there a media bias, mapping herdsmen clashes in Nigeria, trends and trajectory, kidnapping in Nigeria, trends and protagonists and targets. We also had one also about banditry in Southwest Nigeria. But you can also go to online to get interrogating the Boko Haram conflicts, who kills more, and this today's presentation on the Shia, the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, and the security forces and investigation. You can go to the YouTube and get all this. I would love to have you back again next year, like Dr. Victor Eze said. More interesting package for you. We also want to especially thank people that have really helped in putting this together. I want to thank the Nigerian Watch team, the coordinator, the project manager, the deputy project manager, information retrieval specialist, communication analysts. I want to thank Juliet, also we have a copper, I want to thank the copper here, I want to thank Vincent, and I want to especially thank Professor Mark for making this dream a reality. Thank you all. See you again next year. Bye for now.